Last year's title battle was one of the closest in history. Fans were treated to some brilliant racing, but at times it got ugly. Tensions boiled over between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen with insults, digs, and crazy on-track collisions. But Red Bull are sure that this year won't be a repeat. So why did Christian Horner think that this year's title battle will be different? And how did Horner's feelings play a role in Max's rivalry? Stay tuned to find out. Last year's battle scars. Believe it or not, the two title contenders from last year used to respect each other. They have both expressed their admiration for one another's driving abilities, and Verstappen even called Hamilton one of the greatest drivers of all time. Back in 2016, Verstappen first stepped onto the grid. He received a lot of criticism from fellow drivers. They were quick to complain about his aggressive driving style and dangerous track behavior. Surprisingly for some, Hamilton came out as one of his defenders, saying that the media and other drivers needed to give the guy a break because he was only 18 years old at the time. But that respect quickly vanished when it became clear just how close the 2021 championship was going to be. They collided at the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, which sent Hamilton off the track, gave Verstappen the race win. Then, the big turning point of the 2021 season was when they collided at the British Grand Prix. They were both headed into the high-speed corpse corner side by side, bumped wheels, which sent Verstappen barreling into the wall at almost 300 kilometers per hour. After being checked in hospital, Verstappen was given the all clear, but the incident only angered Red Bull, especially when Hamilton went on to celebrate his race win on the podium. Horner called it an amateur and desperate move from Hamilton. They crashed together out of the race at the Italian Grand Prix, collided at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, and then finished the season with a controversial intervention by the race director in Abu Dhabi. Up until that very last race, there was nothing but hostility between the two. That's what made it so captivating. A new era. The devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. And Max and Charles know each other very well. Their history stretches back to when they were still karting against each other and involved in what Leclerc describes as a racing incident. From Max's point of view, Leclerc ran him off the track. Oh, and it was after the checkered flag. Their racing careers grew up together, along with many other young drivers currently on the grid. That means that they are very familiar with one another's driving. They were fighting each other for championships long before anyone in F1 was interested in them. Leclerc said that even back then in junior categories, it was a very close competition between the two of them. That's why he thinks that it will be very close in the championship this year. But that stuff is ancient history. They are both able to laugh about it now and have become somewhat friendly with one another. Verstappen says that they basically grew up together because they would always be at the same competitions. So far this year, it seems to be staying that way. The first two races of the season in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, the two drivers had some entertaining battles. After that battle, Verstappen said that it was a tough but good race, and he thoroughly enjoyed duking it out with Leclerc. It's anyone's guess who's going to take the cake this year, with jabs traded from between the Red Bull and the Ferrari driver. Who called Christian Horner an a-hole? And why really was the battle with Hamilton so different to the battle with Leclerc? Don't go anywhere, because all of this is coming right up. Mercedes bad blood. Christian Horner and the Red Bull team have been wanting to take down Mercedes for years. It was Red Bull who were the four-time back-to-back world champions from 2010 to 2013, and Mercedes pooped their party in 2014. In fact, even before 2014, Horner was trying to bring down Mercedes. Apparently, Lewis Hamilton approached Red Bull looking to potentially sign with the team. That's when he was still with McLaren, but was looking for a different direction after some bad results. Red Bull didn't have space for him, and they were still focused on their world champion Sebastian Vettel, so Horner passed. But not before apparently helping to persuade Niki Lauda and Mercedes to take Hamilton. The idea was to keep him at an uncompetitive team and away from posing a threat for Red Bull. That spectacularly backfired, and Hamilton with Mercedes went on to win 7 straight titles. And it left Red Bull totally on the back foot. After 2014, they were tangoing with Ferrari for second and third place, but could rarely challenge for the win. Toto Wolff's wife and former E-Team principal, Susie Wolff, thinks that sitting on the sidelines for so long has made Horner bitter. She thinks that watching Toto win for so many years built up resentment in Horner. It can't have been easy, especially when the biggest factor in Mercedes' dominance during the early turbo hybrid years was the engine power. Red Bull tried everything. They switched from Renault to Honda, but had an uneasy relationship with them both. So, watching the Silver Arrows speed off into the distance without any problems must have made Horner's blood boil. Horner's relationship relationship with Toto. The team bosses are kind of like the parents of Formula One. They watch their young drivers play and cheer for them when they need it. And boy, do they cheer. Every time they're in front of the media, the team bosses defend their drivers, attack other teams, and make sure their team is received favorably. That's one reason why Toto Wolff and Christian Horner have never really seen eye to eye. Last year, Horner said that the more Toto gets wound up, the more fun it becomes. Not exactly a nice thing to say about a colleague you like. That was when the title race was really heating up between Mercedes and Red Bull, but Wolff returned the favor later that year, and he described Horner as a little actor in a Hollywood pantomime. He said that he was a windbag who wants to be on camera, and he's got a point. The Netflix series Drive to Survive featured Horner heavily. Toto also implored Horner to be more modest when Red Bull were on top because it's easy to get too cocky. And, not to be left out, Susie Wolff had some words to say about Horner too. She described some of Horner's actions over the last year's season as being those of an a-hole. This year, Horner has said that his relationship with Wolff has improved. Now, there's respect at the end of the day despite having a rivalry. That was before the season kicked off and it became clear that Mercedes was lagging behind. At the moment, there is no rivalry. Red Bull are solely focused on Ferrari, establishing himself. But more than anything, the battle with Hamilton was different because Verstappen was still establishing himself. He had never won a world championship before and had watched Mercedes and Hamilton win for so many years. In that way, Verstappen really had nothing to lose. Either he would lose to a 7-time world champion or he would make history for himself. In the past, Hamilton has admitted that he chose to deal with Verstappen's aggressive driving style by just leaving him space. Verstappen knew this, of course, and last year took full advantage of it. Sometimes when Hamilton wasn't willing to yield, that meant a collision, but all of that played right into Verstappen's hand. It made Hamilton more and more weary of him, gave the Dutchman more freedom to attack. This year, he is on a more equal footing with Leclerc. They're from the same generation and grew up together karting. They can both be very aggressive in their driving style, and it could easily end up in the two tangling out of the race. That's why Max has been more cautious this year, but it's still very early in the season. We've seen that neither of them are afraid to get their claws out and attack each other, and by the end of the season, it might be just as ugly as last year. Let's hope that at least this time it doesn't end in controversy. The sport can't handle another Abu Dhabi. Do you think that the title fight with Leclerc will be different from last year with Hamilton? Has Verstappen changed, or is it because of his competition? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.